Yo, what is up guys, it's Pedro here, and in today's video I will be going over 5 players that have impressed during the Washington Commanders mandatory minicamp session. So make sure you guys stay tuned to the end to see all the players that have impressed so far. So if you guys are new, make sure to subscribe for Washington and NFL content on the road to 8,000 subscribers, so please help me get there. Also hit that like button and turn on those notifications so you never miss a video. Now let's get right into it. Okay, so the Washington Commanders' 3 mandatory minicamp practice sessions are over, and there were definitely some players that impressed, so we're going to talk about that in today's video. Also, Rivera and the Washington Commanders were fined $100,000 for excessive contact in OTAs and I believe minicamps, so they're going to miss 2 OTA sessions next year. So we'll talk about that at the end. But let's start off with some players that did impress. And again, it's just OTA, so you have to take it with a grain of salt, but it's still good to see some of these players look good. And one of those guys has been EBnjamin ST-Juste and Jahan Dotson. Rivera, they've been raving about him all off season. This is what, Jahan Dotson on June 8th said EBnjamin ST-Juste is having a terrific offseason. He's been playing a lot in the slot in OTAs and minicamp. And, minicamp, there was only like 3 sessions, so nothing crazy happened. So some of this will be like late OTAs and minicamp for the guys that impressed, but still, he did some great things in minicamp. Like, he was one of the only corners that actually could guard, Jahan Dotson. Jahan Dotson was like dicing everyone up. He was burning these corners, especially like Kendall Fuller and some other guys. But EBnjamin ST-Juste was able to stay with him for a lot of these plays and actually break up a couple passes. So that was definitely good to hear for EBnjamin ST-Juste. And, it would be great for him to have a big year, a big second year. That would really help us out because we don't really have a slot corner. So if he can, or like a great one, I like, Danny Johnson, but he's a backup at best. So if you have EBnjamin ST-Juste as your slot guy with Kendall Fuller and William Jackson III as your outside guys, I feel solid about that, cornerback trio. But yeah, let's hope he can do well in his second year. But he's had some nice plays for sure. And yeah, I think he had an interception the other day as well. This guy right here who was at camp said EBnjamin ST-Juste continues to impress. Commanders might have something special there. So great to hear. And yeah, let's hope he can have a big second year. So the next guy on this list is Percy Butler. And in the beginning of OTAs, kind of was, some people were saying he was struggling. The defense was too much for him. But that was because, first off, who knows if that's true? And second off, he had a lot on his plate, a lot of different roles on this defense that he needs to learn. So it's obviously going to take time for him, and it's still going to take a lot of time, but it looks like he's been improving a lot. And, this guy says Percy Butler is looking comfortable and made 2 big plays yesterday. The defense was feeding off of his energy. And, yeah, he had a really impressive interception in the end zone, had a perfect read on the route. This was a couple days ago, and he had another interception earlier, I believe, in OTA. So he's been playing better as of late and definitely is trying to compete for that Buffalo nickel position, maybe even free safety. At this point, I don't think he'll be there, but he's competing with, Derek Forrest, Jeremy Reeves, and others. So he's been looking good, though, these last couple days. Let's see what he can do in this 6-week period between, mini camp and training camp, and how he looks from now to then will be huge in terms of if he's going to be our 11th defender. Will he be that Buffalo nickel or maybe even starting free safety? That is still to be determined, but if he has a good next 6 weeks, studying up on this defense and, continuing to stay in condition, he might have a chance to be the starter, our Buffalo nickel. There's going to be guys, a bunch of guys that could do it. Khaleke Hudson maybe could do it. EBnjamin ST-Juste also possibly could do it. Same thing with Derek Forrest. And of course, Cam Curl, if needed, could do it, but you rather have him at strong safety. But he's been playing well, and that is great to hear for sure. So hopefully he can continue that into this, off season, because he is a very high upside guy. I'm going to have a breakdown coming out on him in the next couple weeks or so. But he has a bunch of really good traits, really good speed. He's very explosive, big hitter. He's rangy. He's a solid tackle. He has a lot of the traits you want. Now it's up to him and the coaches to put it together. And I think he's probably one of the most high upside guys that they ended up drafting. So excited to see what he can do. Next guy is AGG, and he obviously transitioned from receiver to tight end. The Commanders love those guys that used to be receivers or quarterbacks or basketball players. They love those guys who are switching to tight end. So like in the future, that's something to look for guys that they're going to sign or draft, guys that were former receivers or other positions or sports. They love those players. But AGG, we've heard great things from him this whole offseason period. He's been flashing a lot more than he was as a receiver last year. That's what Pete Haley said. And he had a really nice catch over defender during red zone drills. Play ended in a touchdown. And I believe a couple of media members said that was like one of the best catches all off season. So that is great to hear for sure. And AGG isn't going to be a huge impact player this year. He might not even make the roster. Like, he's going to be fighting. He's going to be fighting for that last tight end spot. If Logan Thomas starts the year healthy, it'll be Logan Thomas, Cole Turner, and John Bates for sure. And if they want to keep a fourth, then it'll be between Sammis Reyes, AGG, Curtis Hodges, the Rodgers tight end. So it'll be between those guys for that last spot. But if Logan Thomas starts the year, once they make the 53-man roster, they put him on IR or PUP list, then it'll be between those guys for the third and maybe even fourth spot. And if that's the case, I think AGG could make it. And he's also kind of like, if they decide to keep like 6 receivers instead of 7, which they even kept 8 last year, then he can be kind of a hybrid between a wide receiver and tight end. He's a very good blocker. Like, already for tight end, he's doing really well. That's what Juan Castillo and some of the media members have been saying. Like, he's been solid as a blocker. He was a really good blocker coming out of college. For a receiver, he's a big guy, 6'4", and now he's in the 230s. He came in at 238, but he went down a little bit, got to 232, and Rivera said he feels good at 232, but he's been making some big plays, and I think he's going to have, for sure, he's going to be able to make the practice squad, but he's going to be fighting for that last tight end spot. And who knows, if he continues this, he could possibly do it. And I'm excited for him and happy for him that he has a second chance to revitalize his career. So I'm hoping he continues to ball out in, next training camp and in the preseason. And if he does, he has a chance to be the last tight end on this roster. So that was a good move by the staff, because as a receiver, he was never going to make this roster and probably was going to be a practice squad guy at best for the rest of his career the next 2 years. But at this, switching to tight end, he has a little bit more upside and could, get his career a lot longer. Like, he could be in the league for a lot longer now because that position changed. So good job by the coaching staff getting possibly something out of nothing. So next guy, we've heard this guy all off season long, but he's continued to impress, Jahan Dotson. And I love this clip right here from Ben Stanek, because you can just see how good of a catcher he is, how good his hands are. I mean, look how the ball literally sticks to his gloves right there. Oh man, I don't know. I'm just really, really excited to see Jahan Dotson. Let's see if I can put it in full screen right there. Some of it's going to be cut out, but you guys can just see how good his hands are. It just sticks to his hands, and part of that is the gloves, but you do not see this on every receiver. Some of these receivers are body catchers or bobbles when it hits their hands. Jahan Dotson is clean. He's a clean catcher for sure, and he's continued to impress, and I think he probably will be their second receiving option on offense, because you're going to have Terry McLaurin obviously as number 1, and hopefully they can get a deal done soon with him. There's been some good news lately on that, and then it's between Jahan Dotson, Curtis Samuel, and I guess Logan Thomas once he comes back. But I think Jahan Dotson, could be that second option, and he's been playing really well this offseason because Terry's been out. He's been able to, Jahan's been able to get a good chemistry going, get some good chemistry going with Carson Wentz. That is good, and I think he's going to start out really, really well, and could possibly get close to 1,000 yards. I don't think he will get 1,000, but I think realistic expectations are 750 to 850, like in that range. I think he can do that, and for a guy in his first year, that is very, very successful, and you can expect him to possibly get over 1,000 in his second year. So I'm really liking what we're seeing from Jahan Dotson, and man, let's hope he can continues to do this. So another defensive player, and this is Derek Forrest. So we talked about Benjamin ST-Juste and Percy Butler earlier, both young defenders. Benjamin ST-Juste in his second year, Percy Butler in his first. Now Derek Forrest, who is in his second year, he's been impressing all off season, and he's actually been working ahead of Percy Butler. But again, those guys are competing for that Buffalo nickel spot, and both again are also very good special teams players. So they're very kind of similar players. I think Percy Butler has a little bit more upside. That's just my opinion though. But I really like Derek Forrest, and Derek Forrest, like last year, was at least going to play a lot in special teams, but then had a hip injury and was really out for like 7-8 weeks or something, maybe even more. And then once he got back, like he already missed a lot of the season, so it was kind of a wasted year. He did play some, special teams. He did play some special teams. In the last couple weeks, he actually played on defense. And honestly, like you could see some flashes there. Like he was blitzing the quarterback in that Giants game, and you could just see that burst and explosiveness that he had, where he's getting some pressure on the quarterback. And I don't know, he's looked good this offseason, gotten a few big interceptions. He's gotten some big hits that got Ron Rivera in trouble. But I think he it's going to be interesting to see how him and Percy Butler look in the training for that Buffalo nickel spot. Like those two, and I guess Benjamin ST-Juste a little bit, but Benjamin ST-Juste also can be a backup outside corner or could be the starting slot corner. So he has more options, but whereas like Derek Forrest and Percy Butler, like their one spot right now is probably the Buffalo nickel, and I guess backup free safety or strong safety for them. Like Derek Forrest probably more of a strong safety. So I mean, they definitely have other options, but their main option is Buffalo nickel. So we'll see who gets it. Right now, I think a lot of the media members are saying Derek Forrest is kind of ahead in the rotation, but it's very early. And Percy Butler, obviously, he's going to continue to improve more rapidly probably than Derek Forrest, just because he's super, super young. I mean, they're both young, but this is Percy Butler's rookie year, so he's learning a lot of new things right now. So those are kind of the 5 players that have impressed so far. Some other guys, Carson Wentz looked really good through OTAs. Minicamp was up and down, but still had some good days for sure. And there's been other guys that have had, solid day, solid camps. Cole Holcomb as well, Curtis Samuel before he got hurt again, or before he missed some days. So the other thing, Commanders coach Ron Rivera was fined $100,000, and Washington loses 2 2023 OTA practices due to excessive contact in practice drills. So Jeremy Reeves is somewhat to blame for that. Derek Forrest also had a big hit that they were talking about. There were some other things. Only thing that, I'm just wondering, the Cowboys had a similar issue, but they're missing only one OTA session next year, and this happened to them last year. So I'm just wondering why this is a first time offense for the Commanders, and they get 2 practices missed, same fine as the Cowboys. The Cowboys are repeat offenders and are getting less than Washington in terms of practices lost. Maybe Washington just had so many more bigger hits. I don't know. Doesn't really make sense to me. Let me know what you guys think about it down below in the comments section. Not a huge deal, but kind of a bummer that they have to miss 2 OTA sessions. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace.